Alright folks, welcome to the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. I'm your host Jay Real. In studio we have Lady Amethyst with us. How you doing this morning?
Good.
Good, okay. We are going to go ahead and jump right in to our Magic Minute with Lady Amethyst and explain to us what are we going to be talking about today.
We're going to be talking about the Modern Master set.
Modern Master. So Magic has a new set coming out then basically. Correct? Alright. Well, tell us a little bit about it.
It is going to be a very high-end set. The average price is around $200 a box.
$200 a box?
And they're reprinting all sorts of old cards.
Really? So they're going back to the old sets, making up these new sets. To what do you think the purpose of that is for?
I think it's the players that weren't playing back then. I think so they will be able to have their advantage. So they'd be able to tell what was hot back then. Oh,
okay. That makes a lot of sense. Well, cool. What else is, how many cards are in the set?
229.
Okay, so that's a pretty good number for a set, correct, don't you think? And how much are the packs going to be, you think?
$7 per pack.
$7 per pack. Now, let's talk about what are one of the hot cards coming out of this set that you're familiar with.
We're going to have Termagoyf and City of Brass.
City of Brass. Now, what does that do?
It's a land where you can tap it for any color of mana except you lose 1 life. And
do you think that would help players to be able to get 1 mana of any color?
If you're playing life game, then yes, it will help.
Oh, okay. Well, very cool. Now, when's the release date on this?
It's being released June 7th.
June 7th.
So that's pretty close.
Now, tell me your personal opinion. Are you excited for this set?
Yes. I'm hoping they're reprinting Nissa.
Nissa. Explain Nissa.
Nissa Revane. She's an elf planeswalker from Zendikar.
Oh, so she's a planeswalker. And isn't she, like, helps elves or something, right?
Yeah. She can put out an elf and you can gain 2 life for every elf with her.
So basically, this set could be very powerful for new players because then they're going to be able to jump back almost like in time and picking up some of these more rare and powerful cards. All right. Okay. Well, as you heard, the Modern Masters, a new set coming out in June. And now let's go ahead and talk about last week's winners. Who took 3rd place in the Friday Night Magic tournament?
In 3rd place, there is Mike Harris.
Mike Harris, who's a local from right here in Ruidoso.
In 2nd, we have Thurston Scott.
Thurston Scott, Mescalero representing.
And then in 1st place, we have Jesse Castillo.
Oh man, that's the true champion right there. He's a local, nice guy. We love to see him win. And then what's going on this week tournament for Friday?
We're having a 2-headed giant.
2-headed giant. What's that mean? So the folks out there
understand. It means that 2 players will grab their decks and team up and play another 2 players. So it's team versus team.
Oh,
and you give your team your own name.
Oh, so you get to pick a name and everything, huh? Do you like that format?
Yeah, I really do.
Okay. Well, folks, as you just heard, if you are not a player or do not know any of this language she's talking about here, you need to come on into the player zone. They'll hook you up. They'll set you up with a deck. They'll set you up with the information, a rule book, probably even a deck at no charge to get you started, and you'd be understanding all this stuff and be able to get involved with the Modern Masters. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we go?
That's about it.
Well, next week we are going to talk about M14, right?
Yeah.
That's a new set also going to be coming out. It's a base set. We're real excited for that one. But we'll get you in next week to cover that. So do not forget this Friday at the Player Zone, 2-headed giant. Right now, for Jay Real and the Average Joe Sports Talk Show with Lady Amethyst, thank you so much for coming in. Great job. We will see you next week, folks. We're going to take a quick break.
Oh, wow, the stuff in the Player Zone is so cool. Oh, wow, they got Magic, sports cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think there's some comic books back there. And the Player Zone will even price this stuff for free. Oh, wow. Player Zone will buy, sell, and trade any of this stuff. And what can I get for her?
All right, welcome back to the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. We hope you enjoyed that break. Now, we just wanted to thank Lady Amethyst for coming in studio and giving us her magic minute. We're going to go ahead and just go on to a topic that's been kind of making noise over the last few days, and that's the fact that Manti Te'o has been given no access to the press, or should I say, no press has been given access to Manti Te'o from the San Diego Chargers. Now, some guys are making this a really big deal, blowing it out of proportion, that Manti Te'o is trying to hide and he's trying to duck questions and all this crap that's going on. And all I have to say is good for San Diego for protecting their player from a bunch of drama and a bunch of nonsense. No one wants a distraction in the locker room, and the best way to do it is just cut it out. And that's what they did. Giving no access to the press to Manti Te'o right now is about the best thing they could do. Because right now they don't have a lot of sports to cover with Manti Te'o, so guess what? The media would be covering all the drama about his ex-girlfriend that didn't exist and all that crap that doesn't even need to be brought to the football field. There's a time and a place for everything, and right now I think the Chargers are being smart by cutting this out and saying, hey, we're going to focus on football. When there's something that is football related to be talked about to this guy, we'll let you have access. But right now, there's no reason for him to have access to media because there's nothing to talk about. It's just going to be gossip and a bunch of distractions. So, good for San Diego for protecting their player and not just throwing him to the wolves, which is the media circuit, or circus, I should say. Now, moving on, Tony Romo for the Dallas Cowboys is going under the knife, or has already possibly gone through the knife. I believe today he was supposed to go into surgery to remove some things going on in his back. The details aren't exactly sure what is going on with that, but he is supposed to be having some kind of surgery to alleviate some problems in his back, so that way that he'd be ready for training camp this summer. Now, also in football news, there's a lot of teams making decisions, trying to make quarterback decisions for their future and for this next year. All we have to say is that the best teams are going to make those moves, going to make the adjustments that have traded for quarterbacks to make their teams better this year. And as we know, the Jets have gone through a lot of craziness over the last few weeks with their quarterback situation. They did draft a new quarterback, a rookie quarterback. What is that saying for Sanchez and his future? Well, all we have to say about that is Mark Sanchez has a very limited rope. He has a small amount of room this season to prove that he can finally or hopefully make some changes to his game, because if not, they're going to throw in the rookie, even though we feel he's not going to be ready to lead a team. They're just going to throw him to the wolves and more than likely end up ruining another 2 careers this season as they did last season, messing with Sanchez and messing with Tim Tebow. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Now, there's a lot of football to be talked about, but right now we're going to go ahead and just switch gears and we're going to head back to the NBA. Why? The NBA is heating up. We got the final 4 best teams in the league. Miami's going to be facing off Indiana, and we have the Grizzlies facing off against the Spurs. Now, this is going to be a very good possible matchup. Indiana matches up very well against Miami if they come to play their game. This is all we have to say. If Miami doesn't get pushed around, if they don't get bullied, if they don't get manhandled down in the low points and just get roughed up, then they're just going to run all over Indiana. Indiana has to really come in there and bully these guys, push them around, knock them off their game, frustrate them, if I can say, to a point where they get angry and start losing focus on what they need to do. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. And then, of course, it's the Spurs. Spurs should have no problem. They are a veteran team. They should have the experience. Their opponents have not even been in a playoff situation like this ever, I don't think. So San Antonio should use their experience, their knowledge, They are veterans. This is their last run, if I can say, to make it to a championship. And I see the Spurs coming out of that series the winner. So our prediction here will be for the Spurs to be facing off against Miami Heat in the championship, with the Miami Heat winning the whole thing. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there in the finals, but we're predicting those two. Now, go ahead, and we're not going to take any breaks. We're just going to go ahead and wrap up and go into our next segment here, which is we're going to talk a little bit about NASCAR. NASCAR is totally pissing us off here at the Average Joe Sports Talk Show because they are doing everything wrong when they have an opportunity to do the right things when it comes to NASCAR. And what we're talking about is you just had a vote to vote in the racers for this race. It's a voter's choice, the people's choice. People vote in their racers, and here comes Danica Patrick out of nowhere. Doesn't even belong in this group that are going to be named as racers, because there are so many more racers with better records, better performances, and it's not because of male or female, just better racers. And that's all we're going to say right here. We're talking about racers, and we're talking about racers that are not performing to where they need to be chosen as a people's voter, or as the voter's choice, people's choice. We feel that NASCAR, just like any other publicity stunt when it comes to Danica Patrick, are just throwing her in because she's a pretty face, she's a female, and she sells tickets. This has nothing to do with who deserves to be in there, who has the right, who has proven that they have what it takes to be winners in the NASCAR circuit. Now some people are saying that the voters voted her in, and if that's the case, hey, that's all good. But when you're anticipating boos and a reaction negatively to Danica Patrick's being introduced and introduced into this race, that's going to tell us right away that she was not voted in by the people, that NASCAR just implanted her because they wanted her in there. Time will tell if that's the case or not. We're all interested to see the reaction from the fans when she gets announced or gets introduced for the race. We'll just have to wait to see, but it would be a shame on NASCAR if they're just using her as a publicity stunt instead of putting the best possible people, persons, male or female, doesn't matter, racers, in the right spots for these races. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now, we have to thank our Player Zone. They hook us up with the house. They hook us up with all the cool stuff. If you're interested in contacting them, you just go to riadosomidtown.com, hit the Merchants tab, boom, it'll take you right over to the Player Zone. You can leave them feedback, get in contact with them, or you can contact us directly here at the Average Joe Sports Talk Show through our Facebook, as well as the Player Zone Facebook, and let us know what you think. Give us any comments, feedback, any ideas for the future shows. We take all information and all feedback, good or bad. We're welcome to receive it. Now, real quick before we wrap up the show, we want to again thank Lady Amethyst for coming in and giving us the Magic Minute. It's very important that our surrounding area people know that there is a place for the youth of our community and bigger kids. There's bigger kids that love to enjoy the sports and the games and comic books and Star Wars and figures and all kinds of sports cards and memorabilia all over. I do want to just give a quick wrap-up before we go about the gun show that took place over the weekend. We had a really great time. It went from Friday to Sunday, and we actually got a chance to meet a lot of cool people. We should have actually been out filming, but we were so involved with just the actual activity of it. And to let people know that this weekend as well, the weekend of the 25th, there is another huge gun show here in Ruidoso, New Mexico at the Civic Center. Please bring your family and friends. It's really fun. We had a great time, and check it out. You can walk around. There's lots of booths and food and junk food and all kinds of stuff. So, again, this weekend of the 25th, there's another big gun show here in Ruidoso. Be sure to check it out at the Civic Center. But for right now, Jay Real is going to sign out and say thank you all for tuning in. This Friday, we are going to cover a lot of more sports. We're actually going to be talking about the NBA playoffs that are still going on, a little bit of football, and then cover a little bit of Tiger Woods and golf. All right. As we sign out, we'd like to say congratulations to Victor Belfort, the Phenom, for knocking out his opponent in amazing fashion. 1-round knockout. Good job, Phenom, and we will see you all Friday. God bless. See you next time.
Cheers.